Am I being heard? I still see no sound on the chat, so just a second. Microphone should be this guy. Okay, any luck now? Can anyone hear me now? Can you hear me now? Good evening, everybody. Yeah, better now. Okay. All right. Good evening. Welcome. Loud and clear. Super. Thank you. Thank you. There is sound now, Mr. Peter. You're correct. Kingsley cannot hear. Sorry, Kingsley. It's echoing. Is that true for everybody? Is it true for everybody? Do you hear some echoes at your end? Echoes or no echo? It's echoing. Okay, let me try something. So how about now? Is it any better now? Is it better now? Someone is having a kara and pap. You're all and you're inviting us on YouTube. You should have told us earlier. It's better now. Okay. Which one should I take on to now? For some people it's better. Some are saying it's still echoing. I suppose maybe those ones got the message lately. Let's do something again. How is it now? A lot better now? Makes sense? Okay. All right. So thanks everybody. It's better now, better, much better. Okay, super. All right. So we are welcome. Welcome to today's session. So this is session 2 of how many? How many sessions are we supposed to have? Anyone knows? How many sessions are we supposed to have? 8 sessions. Someone said 8. Someone said 3. Okay. How many sessions are we supposed to have? Analyst. 3 per week. Someone said 3 per week. Guy, do your calculations. How many sessions are we supposed to have? So 24 sessions in all. Okay. That's good to know. So, and if this is the second of 24, what does that tell you? What percentage would we be covering tonight? What percentage would we be covering tonight? If this is 2 of 24. We have a long way to go. It seems a long way anyways, but not as long. 8.3%. All right, so we are approaching 10%. Okay. All right, so welcome. Yesterday we had a bit of an introduction into what data analysis is. Everybody just go to the chat very quickly, very quickly go to the chat, type one key lesson from yesterday's session for you, something that stood out for you from yesterday's session, a take home for you. Put that on the chat quickly, everybody. Data is everything and anything. Excellent. Data storage, the concept of ETL, super. ETL is extract, transform, and load. Data is raw fact, good. Data storage can be on premises or in the cloud. ETL and ELT, good. Storing data is essential, not just essential, it's important. You have to store data if you intend to make use of it. Operational and analytical, what does that mean? The essence of data is to show why things are working, what is not working, and what we should focus on. Excellent. Data analysis as a life cycle. Emmanuel, you want to tell us what a life cycle is? Organizations hire data analysts to invest in data analysis. Know what to? Thank you for that, Steve. How we relate to data in our day-to-day activity. Thanks, Olashukbo. Queen, 2D and 2P. What does that mean? All right, so well done, everybody, and thanks a lot for putting your mind to what was taught yesterday. So today we are taking it slightly further, and today we are starting the real deal. We are starting our conversation on Microsoft Excel. So for today, there should be a file that would have been sent to you. Please confirm on the chat if you have the file already. So your file should have been sent to you all. Type yes on the chat if you have the file. Yes on the chat if you have the file. Excellent. So you all have the file. So let's go. All right. So now I'm just going to do something quickly. Let me bring up my own file. 1 second. So I'm going to bring up this file. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. So just hold on for a second while I push this on my screen. All right, so today will be a mix of an introduction to Excel. At the same time, we are going to do some interesting stuff for a start. So I need to close a few things. So I'm able to open that on the other window. All right, so my file is up. So let me switch to that screen that has the file. So I'm gonna stop this for a second, and then I'm gonna just reshare this. So just hold on, you're gonna see that in a moment. Okay, so if you can see an Excel spreadsheet on your screen, go to the chart and type 1. If what you see on my screen now is the same file that you have, type 1. No file received. Sorry about that. You might have missed it via the channel that was shared. All right, good. So let's go on now. So now we want to have an introduction to Excel, but one very important thing that we have to talk about first is I need to know what version of Excel you guys are using. So because that to a large extent will inform some of the things that I know is possible or will be possible for some of you and some of the things that might not be possible for some of you. So do this, everybody, just look at my screen. So look at my screen now and do what I want to do. Okay, so just look at my screen, focus on my screen and do what I want to do now. So if you look at your own Excel, you should have your Excel launched. On your own Excel file, just do this. At the top left, you see file. You see file at the top left. And then when you click on file, you go down. For you, you might see something like account. But if you do not see account immediately, click on more, then you go to account. So you come here, you see file, you go down on the left pane, you see account, or you need to click on more, then you click on account. You cannot see anything. Did anyone see what I just did? What if you are using Google Sheets? That would work for some of the things that we want to do, but not all. So when you get to accounts, you will see the product information. Type out the product information on the chart. Maybe you are using Excel, Microsoft Excel Professional Plus 2016, or Microsoft 365, or whatever it is, whatever you see under your product information, that's what I want you to type on the chart. Office 2021, good. Plus 2021. Microsoft Professional Plus 2013. I'm trying to see the various years and products that people have. I see 2013 to still be the lowest for now. That is 2021 Microsoft 375. That's a new product. I'm just hearing that for the first time. All right, so good, excellent. So now, from what I can see, the person with the lowest version uses 2013 version. That seems to be the lowest for now. So which is good. So the challenge will just be that there will be some functions we might be talking about that you would not be able to use at your end. So my advice will be that if it's possible for you, try to get a more recent version, maybe something from 2019 upwards. And this is to everybody, so you may want to try to get 2019 upwards. That would serve you right for this class. Someone is using 2007. If you're 2007, that's pretty old. You might want to get 2019 or above. Try to get that installed. 07 is the lowest. It's not the lowest, but maybe from what people have typed on the chart. All right, that's fine. So let's go on. So now, when we talk about Microsoft Excel is a spreadsheet application. So like I mentioned yesterday, although this is supposed to be an advanced class, but because we have a mix of audience, we have a handful of people that are still beginners when it comes to data analysis and more specifically the use of Microsoft Excel. And we have a number of other persons as well who are on the intermediate side of the spectrum. So what I plan to do is that we'll have some bit of introductory path so that we do not completely lose the beginners in the class. And then then we now step things up very quickly. So that way everyone is able to pick something or the other from what we will talk about. So when we talk about Microsoft Excel, so Microsoft Excel is a spreadsheet application. So it is a spreadsheet application. And when something is a spreadsheet application, what that means is that it is an application that you can use to manage and manipulate data. So it is an application that you can use to manage and manipulate data. How do you get a file? Sorry, that's not a question for now. You will need to get the file where others are getting the file from. Okay, so the file has been sent. That's what I know. So now, when something is said to be a spreadsheet application, what it means is that it is an application that can be used to manage and manipulate data. That's what it means. We have a number of them in the market today. Excel is one of them. We have Google Sheets, which is typically called Sheet, and then we have Smart Sheet. So this is a more specialized spreadsheet. We have a host of them, a host of others in the market as of today as well. But Microsoft Excel looks like the most popular because it is probably the oldest. So by this year, Microsoft Excel clocked 40. So 40 years of Microsoft Excel's existence. So which tells you that this is an application that has evolved a lot from when it was first introduced to the current moment. So Excel as an application, whenever you are launching Microsoft Excel, so what you're launching is what is called an Excel workbook. Excel workbook is what you're launching. Within a workbook, we now have what is called worksheets. So if you look at the file that was shared with you, case one, that is a worksheet. Sheet one that I have currently, it's another worksheet. Case two, it's also another worksheet. And then I have the plus sign, which I can use to add a number of other worksheets. Sorry, you might be typing some things on the chat and I'm missing it. I'm switching between screens. So I may not be able to monitor it as much as I did yesterday. So just focus on what we're learning for now. So now, within a worksheet, then we have a couple of things. We have a couple of things in the worksheets. First that I will introduce you to is that at the top, that's where you went to at the time to click on file. Here at the top, we have what is called the ribbon interface. So everything you see here at the top is called the ribbon interface. And within the ribbon interface, we have tabs, or we call them menu. So home is a tab, insert is a tab, page layout is a tab. Every single thing that you see here at the top, they are different tabs that you have in Excel. Then right below, we have what is called a group. So there is a font group which exists within the tab. And how do you know what demarcates each of the groups? It is the thin line that you see between them. So this line to this line, this is what bounds the font group. Then we have the alignment group from there to here. And within each of the groups, you now have what is called the command or button. So bold command, italicize command, underline command, and the likes of those. So summarily, what you see here at the top is first, you see the ribbon interface, which is everything that houses all of the controls that you see at the top. Then within the ribbon interface, you have the tabs. Within the tab, you have the groups. Within the groups, you have buttons or commands. Quickly go to the chat, everybody. Someone should show me the sequence. What do you see first, and what are the things that are beneath it? You registered for the class but haven't seen anything yet. You have not gotten any mail. So you might want to reach out to the admins. You probably do that on the socials. Maybe that would work for you. You say the ribbons, thank you for that greatness. Ribbons to tabs to buttons or command. Angelica, ribbon interface first. Super. You can't see my screen. Might be your internet. You've not received the file. Okay. Ribbon interface, good. I need more responses, people. Thank you for that, Oluwatosin. I love that illustration. Mosomola, okay, ribbon, tabs, then command. There is something in between. Alignment, group, and command. I mean, and that was just an example. That's not the parent thing. Ribbon and or ribbon, sir. Joseph, you've just confused me. More responses, people. This is the way that I would know that you're following. You are lost, sir. Ajayi, where are you? All right, so that is the introduction of the top thing that you see. Then the actual big deal in Excel is that we have the concept of columns, rows, and cells. These are the most important fundamental that you need to know because every single thing that you'll be doing in Excel revolves around these three guys. We have the columns, we have the rows, and we have the cells. Everybody go to the chart. Tell me which one signifies the columns, which one signifies the rows. Is it the letters that you see at the top or the numbers that you see at the left side? Which one is the column? Which one is the row? Letters for columns, numbers for rows, letters of columns, numbers of rows. Excellent, super. So the letters that you see at the top, those are the columns, the numbers are the rows. Super. So next question, how many rows are there in Excel? How many rows are there in Excel? Excellent, excellent. I love this class. Well done, everybody. How many rows are there in Excel? 1,000, Peter, that's good. 123, Olajide, super. 1,000 rows. Let me see, I can see people coming from Google Sheet background. Lisi, 1,033. Lisi added 33 so that everyone will have something to take home. Good. Adeola, 1,048,476. NSEC, she said plenty. Okay, I should go and find out. Make I go count down. Infinite. There is nothing infinite in Excel. 1,048,576. So that is the number of rows that you have in Excel. How would you know? Very simple. What you need to do is this. When you launch a blank Excel worksheet, so if you have launched the same workbook that we are using for this class, just click on the plus sign, this sign that you see here, just click on it. When you click on this sign, you then will be able to add an empty worksheet. When you add an empty worksheet, what you should do is this, very simple. Click anywhere, just click anywhere and press Control down arrow. Hold down your Control key and press the down arrow. When you do that, that automatically will take you to the last row in Excel. When it takes you to the last row in Excel, just look at the number that you see to the left of it, which tells you the exact row number that you're currently on. So that is how to find what's the last row that you have in Excel is, which is 1,048,576. So that's the number of rows in Excel. Number of columns in Excel, 16,374. 16,374 is the number of columns in Excel. So what that tells you is that when the columns are labeled in letters, at a point you get to see A, B, C to Z, and when you get to Z, the letters change, and now we have 2-digit letters A, B, A, C, and at a point it changes to 3 digits, 3 alphabet letters. Maybe that's the right word. Not 3 digits. So if I go from here, the same way, if you want to go to the last column in Excel, you know the last column will be to the right. Just hold down your Control key and press the forward arrow. Tell me what column do you see. Type that on the chart quickly, everybody. What is the last column that you see? Last column that you see in Excel. XFD, super. So column XFD. So that tells you that initially the columns are labeled ABC, single alphabet. Then it switches to double alphabet AAAB. Then it switches to triple alphabet. And the last column that we have is tagged XFD, which is column 16,374. All right. So now I go back to this. Then we have what is called cells in Excel. So cells in Excel, they are at the intersection of columns and rows. So for example, if I pick column F and I pick row 9, just take a look at this shaded portion. So you see this shaded portion here. This guy here, this is the intersection of the column that you see here and the row that you see here. And this intersection of the column and the row, that is called a cell. The intersection of a column and a row is called a cell. So now we also have the concept of active cells. We have the concept of active cell. So the active cell, that is the cell that you are currently working on. Think about it. It says active. Where exactly are you currently on? In the number, the billions of cells that we have in Excel, where exactly are you on at the moment? That is the active cell. But one other important thing is that every single cell has an address. So when I said that the cell is at the intersection of a column and a row, as in this case, so what that tells you is that this intersection of column F and row 9, so this particular intersection here, the address will be F9. How did I pick that? How did I use F9 as an example? Sorry. So anyways, so what I'm saying is that the column letter and the row number, that is what defines the address of every single cell that you see in Excel. So in this case, the column is F, the row is 9, so the cell is something, you can call it, okay? So that is the cell. So now when we say that the active cell is the cell that you're currently sitting on. So look at my screen at the moment, type on the chart, what is the cell address of this active cell? What is the cell address of this active cell? Just drop that on the chart. Someone says D4. D10. Excellent. So D10, so that means you're going to pick the column and you pick the row number. And because of the fact that Excel lives on cell to cell operations mostly. So that's why we need to understand the address so that by the address you know what your Excel is referencing, and by that you know where things might be going right or going wrong. Okay, so now let me go back to this for the moment. So another thing is that in Excel, on this particular interface, we have what is called the formula bar. So that is the formula bar here. So this guy that you see here at the top, this is called the formula bar. Because Excel is a spreadsheet application, one of the things that will be expected is at some point you want to do some manipulations. You want to do some calculations. So these calculations, these manipulations that you want to do, you will see the actual formula. You see that in the formula bar. So that is the essence of the formula bar. It's just more like your chalkboard. For those of us that we went to village schools, you will remember chalkboard, blackboard. So your blackboard is the formula bar. That's where you write whatever you want to see, and then the result is what appears on your notebook. So the result is what you see on the cell itself. But the actual formula or whatever you have typed, we will give you a preview. You see that as it is typed in the formula bar. If all I've explained so far is clear to you, please go to the chat and type 2. If everything that I've said so far is clear to you, type 2. If it's not clear to you, don't type anything because I really don't want to go back. Okay, I see lots and lots of 2s. I'm not expecting to see something else though. Not clear, sorry bro. Try to rewind a bit. Someone typed 1, so it's not absolutely clear, I know, right? Sorry for that. So we have a target and I'm trying to manage this. So by virtue of this class, I'm not supposed to be doing all this. We're not supposed to be talking all this introduction at all. This is supposed to be straight up into some very advanced stuff. So if some things are still not clear, that's why the recording is there. So you can always go back to the recording. So let's shoot. So now, one of the most important things that you will be doing in Excel, aside from having to enter data in Excel, is to work with data and find how you're going to manipulate data. Because I want to give you an introduction. The end goal is that you want to analyze data and create reports. For you to do this, there are certain things that you need to be aware of, which is what are the different ways, for example, what are the different ways via which you can create reports in Excel? There are typically some 4 or 5 ways to create reports in Excel. Let me give you the lowdown. And I like that you hold on to them. We're not going to cover every single one of them in this class, but I'll try as much as possible to show you almost what is possible. So the first one is whenever you have a data set, like what we have in case 1. So case 1 has a data set like this. We're coming back to it in a bit. So this data set that you see here, you have it and you've been asked to create a report of this data set. There are a number of ways to approach it. Number 1 is you can use a combination of formula and functions. You can use a combination of formulas and functions. Your formulas and functions can be can be very simple, can be very complex, depending on how you're able to think through it. A good portion of this class, a good number of sections in this class would go over several functions in Excel. We'll go over several functions in Excel. So don't fret, just pay attention, put your mind to all of this, and then we'll be good to go. So number two is we have a tool in Excel that is called pivot tables. We have a tool in Excel that is called pivot tables. So you can use pivot table as a tool to analyze data in Excel. Pivot table is one of the tools that you can use to analyze data. We'll talk about it. Then number three, because pivot table in itself has some limitations. Pivot table in itself cannot give you every single thing that you need. So we need something else to enhance what is possible with the pivot tables. And so that is why we have what is called pivot tables. You use pivot tables in combination with power pivots. Use pivot tables in combination with power pivots. So that is the third way, the third option. So option two is using just pivot tables alone to create all your reports. Option three is we're now using power pivot to enhance what is possible within pivot tables. So to make up for some of the limitations that we have with pivot tables. And this power pivot has an extension which is called DAX. So DAX is the formula language for Power Pivot itself, which is data analysis expressions. But we are not talking about that yet. So I'm just giving you a lowdown of the different ways to analyze data or create reports in Excel. Then we have way number four, which is using pivot tables. Pivot tables, you're using that with what is called cube formulas. So there is a category of formulas in Excel that is called the cube formulas. So those cube formulas, there are some powerful formulas that can allow you get access to your data at some very more granular level to perform some interesting analysis. So that is way number four. But again, here you will notice that for 2, 3, 4, we are still using pivot tables, but we are just using some enhancers alongside your pivot table. So the pivot table, we are enhancing it either with power pivot or we are enhancing it with cube formulas. And lastly, we can use what is called array formulas. So array formulas in Excel, these are formulas that are capable of returning multiple results together. Very dynamic, very interesting set of formulas. We're going to have some interesting case studies to look at that would implement the array formulas. So these are the 5 ways via which you can create reports in Excel. But again, is that we're not going to look at every single thing in this class, but we'll try as much as possible to make you see what's possible in a lot of them or most of them so that you have options in your tool set to say that for whatever case you find yourself in, what tool would you use or what approach would you give to it? And again, is one other important thing that I want to make this one of the takeaways from this bootcamp is that at the end of the Excel class, you should have gotten to a level whereby when you are faced with a case study, you can decide that this one, I can use formulas and functions to tackle it. This one, let me quickly just use pivot tables. This one, let me write some array formulas to quickly summarize. And you should get to that level, but I need something from you, which is pay attention. Don't be distracted. Don't allow the chart to distract you in any ways. So those are the things that I need from you, and ensure that you practice as much as possible. All right, so quickly go to the chart, people. Go to the chart, people. From the 5 ways that I mentioned that you can use to analyze data, type out which one of them you do remember. So type one of them that you remember in the chart. Someone is just typing their own detail. That's good. Formulas and good one, COSIV. Most likely you had put them somewhere. That's nice. I say pivot table, I see array. It's not array, it's array formulas. So when we talk about array, that's a set of values. But what we're talking about here is array formulas. Super. Pivot tables with power pivot. Excellent. A lot of it is rushing in, so I'm not able to track which type in words. But excellent stuff, people. Thanks a lot. Well done. Okay, very, very good. All right. Excellent. So well done, well done, well done on that. So let's go. So now that we know that these are the different ways to analyze data or create report in Excel, there is still one other important thing that you need to know. Whenever you want to analyze data, know that your data your data is not always clean. This should be something that you paste on your wall. Know that your data is not always clean. Just like you go into your room and then you do not always find your room clean by whatever powers. Something would have just gone wrong. Your pillow would be somewhere. You don't know how it got there. Your bed sheets would be one on top of the other. You don't know how that happened. So essentially is because your data will be coming from different sources. Remember what we said yesterday, that your data can come from multiple sources. And when your data comes from multiple sources, there is a tendency that your data will be coming in with some messiness. Your data will be coming with some dirtiness. This messiness, this dirtiness in your data has to be resolved ahead of time. You need to deal with it. If you do not deal with it, you would not have good analysis. Think about it. Your room is scattered, but you came home with 8 of your friends. Maybe this is applicable to guys. You came home with 8 of your friends, and you are in a room apartment, and the room is already scattered. Where do you want your friends to sleep? There's virtually no place to post them. Okay, so it's the same thing. If your data is all over the place, your data is not in the right format, your data is not in the right structure that is analysis ready, you need to first deal with that. And there are numerous ways to also deal with that. We're going to explore a few of them in this class. So what I'm saying in essence is that whatever data you have it in mind. You may have to do some cleaning. Have it in mind. You might have to take out some things, add some things before you now begin your analysis. But let's start the journey now. If you're ready to write, go to the chat and type 3. All right, good, 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 good. Well done, everybody. So let's shoot. Okay, so now we want to start today with formulas and functions. One of the superpowers that you must have when it comes to Excel, if you look at people's profile on LinkedIn and the person tells you that they are an Excel expert, they are an Excel guru, they are an Excel guru, they are an Excel what have you, one thing that they can always beat their chest to that they know very well is they know functions in Excel. And they only don't know these functions maybe by name. They know the functions and how what they do and how they can combine different functions to achieve what they want to achieve. So if you want to scale your Excel game, excellent. Thank you for that greatness. If you want to scale your Excel game, you must ensure that you pay attention to Excel functions. So Excel is not primarily the fancy charts and stuff that you see out there. No. One of the key things that you must know, that you must learn, that you must have in your arsenal is a lot of functions. Interesting news is that Excel as of today will probably have maybe some 500 or 600 functions or thereabout. You don't need to know everything. No one would ask you to know to list 500 functions or 400 functions, 300 functions. Nobody will ask you to. So there are some essential functions, maybe some 60, 80 functions that every single person who call themselves as analysts, they call themselves analysts, they need to know. If you know those functions and you know your ways around how to combine them to manipulate them to get to what you need, then it will be interesting for you. You will find a good way around it. Okay? Someone is asking for assignments already. Don't worry. You will do a lot of practice on your own, but at some point I might have to give you some things that I'm not going to mark anyways. All right, so let's go on this. So now let me go back to this. So for this session and a couple of sessions to come, we'll be talking about different functions in Excel. And I'll be coming with some use cases, how you can implement these functions in the bid to get some insights or some summaries out of your data. So, but before then, let me show you something. So on the tabs, that's what you see at the top. So now that I've introduced to you what the ribbon interface is, what the tab is, what the group is, what the command is. When I say go to so group, so command, so tab, you should know exactly where I want you to go to. That is the essence of that. So if you go to the formulas tab, if you go to the formulas tab, here you will see that we have a function library. So we have a function library, and this library houses all of the available functions in Excel. It houses all of the available functions in Excel. So you see here that we have financial functions. So these are functions that deal with finance. So people in finance, they would know some of these functions. So they are finance related functions. Anyway, let me put it that way. Then we have logical functions, functions that can help you implement some logic about what you want to achieve in Excel. Then we have text, date and time, lookup and reference, math and trig. Then we have more functions here. So if I drop down on more functions, you see that we have statistical, these are some examples. We have engineering, we have cube functions. These are the cube formulas that I mentioned. You see that there are about 8 of them. That's what we have here in the cube family. Then we have information function, compatibility function, and web functions. So now, out of the functions that you see in the function library, another one that I want to point you to now is the compatibility functions. So everything that you see here in the compatibility functions, these are functions that naturally you should try to stay away from. You should try to stay away from using the compatibility functions. Why are they compatibility functions? As the name implies, they are supposed to have been deprecated. So these are functions that are not supposed to still be in Excel, but they are left there because one, Microsoft has left them so that whatever solution or whatever report you have built with these functions will just not break overnight. That's the only reason why they're still here. So every single function that you see in the compatibility function has a better alternative. What you need to know is which one is the better alternative so that you're not making use of this. Another thing is that how would you know which function is a compatibility function? Do you have to always come here? Nope. So what you need to do is for any function you are using, if I do something like this, concat, you'll see here that this guy here, so this function here has like a warning sign. It has like a warning sign next to it. The function at the top here doesn't have that. So the one that has any function that you see that has this warning sign next to it, that tells you that that function is a compatibility function. So you should try as much as possible not to use such functions. If I am still communicating and you're clear with all that I've said, 5 on the chart. I said 5, someone types 4. Okay. All right. So good. So let's proceed. So now, all of these that I've given to you, those are just introductions as to or introductions to the world of functions, and trying to see how you can begin to just giving you a background as to what is possible when it comes to working with functions. Okay, so now let's go to case study one. So case study one that we see here. So this is imagine that this class AI now, this is a school. And here we have names of our students. So these are the names of our students. By the way, these are just fictitious data. Nothing is real here. So someone is not trying to look up any of the names that you see here. You most likely won't find them anyway. Anyways, so if you have any questions, just hold on to it so when we are wrapping up, please. And by the way, we are not going to expend the entire time, so just don't worry. I will attend to your questions very soon. All right. So now we have all the names of our students here, and then at the top here we have the subjects that we tested our students on, and then we have the results. These are the results from each of the subject areas or each of the test areas. So what we want you to do first is that we want to get the total scores for each of our students. So what is the total scores for each of our students? Whenever you want to write any calculation in Excel, whenever you want to write any calculation in Excel, the very first thing that you will need is the equality sign. The equality sign. That is the very first thing that you would need. The equality sign. So if I come here, I want to add up all of the numbers that you see here. I want to add up all of the numbers that you see here. The first thing that I will do, this is the cell that I want the results to be on. So this is going to be my active cell, if you remember. This will be my active cell. This is where I want my results to be on. So I'm going to do equal to here. And when I type in equal to, immediately you will see that the cell now becomes active, and the cell is expecting me to now type in a couple of things. So first is, I want to add up these numbers. I can actually do a normal mathematical operation here to say that I know that the first score here is 98. So I type 98. I say equal to 98 plus, you know how to get plus on your keyboard. This is not it's not a typing class. So 98 plus, I want you put, I know the second score here is 96, so I type 96. Then plus, the third one is 69, I type 69. Plus, the last one is 79, I type 79. What I've done here will give me the result because I've manually picked each of the numbers that I see here for each of the subjects, and I've added the plus, the addition operator in between, starting with the equality sign so that this results into the total score. But if I proceed this way, then what is happening is Excel is using me. I'm not the one using Excel. So what is happening here is Excel is using me. And I think you all should say that if you have done this. So Excel, don't let Excel use you. So it's just a case, it's like a case of somebody who has Excel opened. All of the numbers are showing in Excel, but for that individual, they have gone to, they have picked a calculator and they're now typing. They're not typing out something on the numbers on the Excel, they're typing it out on the calculator to add it. What do we say of the person? Excel is using you, sir. Don't say that to your boss anyways. I'm not the one that taught you. Okay, so now coming back to this. So this is possible. So this is just to show you that it's possible to add your numbers up manually like this. It's very possible. But for our case, what we will do is this. What we'll do is this. We start with the equality sign as such. So we start with the equality sign, and then we use one of the functions in Excel, which is sum. So this is your first function today. So you should give yourself one kundus. So this is the first function, sum. How would you know what these functions do? It tells you that this function adds numbers in a range of cells. This is what this function does. This function sum adds all the numbers in a range of cells. And again is that whenever you want to use a function, if you do not type in the equality sign, Excel just takes whatever you're typing as a normal entry. So it makes no sense to Excel. It's more like you're doing data entry. But whenever you start with the equality sign, that signals to Excel that, oh, this guy seems to want to write a calculation. So let me listen to what he wants to write so that I can return the accurate result. I know that I'm going to use the sum function to achieve the total of all of the numbers that I see here. So as I start to type, IntelliSense come in play, and you see what we have here. Excel has now given a suggestion of some functions that would that start with S. And when I proceed to add a U, it further streamlines the options to what starts with SU. When I add M, it streamlines it again to what starts with SUM, or somehow has SUM in it. So from here now, I press tab into this, and then I can select all of the numbers. I don't have to manually type in any number here. You see that, remember? The sum function adds all the numbers that you have in a range of cells. We know what the concept of cells are already. So what you do here is you come here, you select this, excuse me. So I come back here, I do equal to sum like this. Then I select the first cell. That's the cell that has the first score. And if you take a look at the formula bar now, I selected the cell that has 98. But look at the formula bar, it says I've selected D7. So that is the cell address. And that was the reason why I mentioned to you that knowing about the cell addresses is important, because whatever function you are writing, what you would be seeing in there is the cell address. So from the cell address, you should be able to trace back, you should be able to trace back what the actual cells are. So now I've selected D7, and then I want to select all the other numbers to the front, so I can hold down my shift key and use the forward arrow to select each cell at the front. So you select the first cell, I hold on the shift key and select every other one at the front, one at a time. Once I'm done, I just press enter, and I see now that the total score is 342. Total score is 342. Thanks for that, Olusanya. Excel is using you. I'm glad. Okay, mechanic way. Okay. I don't want to be saying mechanic again, so they don't come after me. You know, I used to be one too. Someone said their answer is 1097. Where did you get that from? What are you adding together? So everybody do this at your end. Tell me what's the total score for the first student, which is Bethany Hooper. What is their total score? Type that out on the chat for me. Okay, I see 342, I see 1097. Those of you that you have 1097, I'm not so sure what exactly you're adding up. Three 342. Okay, I see a lot of that. Some D7, okay, 342. All right, thanks a lot. So now, one interesting thing about Excel is that when you have performed an operation on something. So we have performed an operation on row 7 now. We have summed up all of the numbers, all of the scores for each of the subjects for row 7. And we want to do the same thing for all of the cells that are below. Want to do the same thing for all of the cells that are below. So one thing we might want to do is, instead of having to come to the next cell and you're doing equal to sum again, that will take a lot of your time. What you should do is, after doing it for the first one, go to the bottom right of that cell that holds 342, go to the bottom right. Once you take your cursor to the bottom right of that cell, you see that it changes, your cursor will change to a crosshair like this. When it changes, just double click. That should fill down the calculation for you. If it doesn't fill down the calculation for you, just like it didn't do for me, so what you would do is this, very simple. Now, okay, you did it for some, you didn't do it for some. So now I need to find out. Maybe there is one formatting somewhere. Uh, something is 1 second. It looks like my Excel is frozen somehow. So 1 second. Let me see. It's not responding. Anyways, so go to the chat, everybody. Did it work for you? So you have gotten the first one. Yeah, drag down. You can drag down, but that's not too good. You have gotten 342 for the first one. Pull down the calculation for the other ones. If you have done it and you got it correctly, type 7 on the chat for me. My Excel is not responding, so let me try to shut it down. All right, so this is back up now. So just look at this. Look at this, everybody. So if I will have the total score to be here, so I do equal to sum, then I select all of these numbers, and this is the total. If when you double clicked, nothing happened for you, you can just highlight the cells downwards like this. Hold on your shift key, highlight the cells, and press Ctrl D. You hold on your shift key to highlight the cells. So once you highlight the cells, just press Ctrl D, and that would copy down the formula for you. So one of the things that you will learn in this class is you will learn a lot of shortcuts. So you can't see my screen. I know that's possible. Apologies. So let me reshare. So it would have been when I forced down the Excel. So let me do that again. So I go back here. So you have the sum. This is 342. Click on that cell. Hold down your shift key. Highlight the cells that you want the result to go down to below. Press Ctrl D on the keyboard. D for dog. Press Ctrl D on the keyboard, and that would push down the formula. Yes, I've started sharing my screen, people. I've started sharing. Confirm you can see the screen now. The same way you told me that you cannot see the screen. Okay, you can see it now. All right, so let's proceed. So now, what we just did now is still in some ways manual. So this is still in some ways manual. So you can use a more elegant approach to find the sum. So this is what you will do. Everybody, pay attention to this. Pay attention to this. This is a very quick trick, and we'll get all of the sums in like 30 seconds or less than. So pay attention to this. So what you would do is go to the first score on mathematics. Go to the first score for mathematics. That's 98. Click on that cell. Click on the first score for mathematics. Then hold down your control and shift key. Hold down your control and shift key and press the forward arrow. That would highlight everything to the right. So when you press control forward arrow, that jumps. But when you want to highlight, you do control with shift. So remember when I told you to go to the last column in Excel, you pressed only control with the forward arrow, so it jumps to the last cell. If you want to jump downwards, control and the down arrow. But whenever you want to whenever you want to highlight, you include the shift key with it. So now stay on the first cell, mathematics, control shift forward arrow to highlight everything to the right. So that highlights all the numbers to the right. Then control shift down arrow, you highlight all the numbers downward. So essentially with this, all of the numbers will be highlighted. All of the numbers will be highlighted. So just hold down, this time around, hold down your shift key because you want to go one column to the front. So hold down your shift key and highlight the next column. That is the column that your result will be on. The column that your result will be on. So essentially what we are trying to highlight is all the numbers that we want to add up for each row and including the cell where the answer would be on. That's how we're trying to highlight. So when you have done this, just press Alt equals 2. Press Alt equals 2. So after you've highlighted the numbers, including where the result will be on, press Alt equals 2 and tell me what happens on the chart. Anyone's tried it? Highlight all the numbers that you want to add. Include the column in front where your result will be on. Then you press Alt equals 2. American Wonders. Okay. So it calculated all the sums for you. Yes, Tosin, that's why you're in this class. So now what just happened is you used something in Excel called the auto sum. We used something in Excel called the auto sum. So what the auto sum, the way the auto sum function works is that you are able to perform the same operation over selected cells when you highlight it with where you want the result is on. And because again, think about it, this is AI now. So what you have just used is a similitude of something that could be likened to you using some AI in Excel, because it is a way for Excel to intelligently guess that the numbers that you have selected, you want to add them across the rows. There was nowhere where we told Excel that we want to add the numbers across the rows. But Excel, interestingly, was able to figure that out in the way that that stuff works. So we have done that. So let's proceed quickly. So we're going to round up in like 15 minutes or thereabout. So now, if you scroll a bit down, here now we want to get the total score obtained by students in mathematics. We want to get the total score obtained by students in mathematics. So how do we get this? We know that our scores for mathematics, they are in the same column, which is column D. Our scores for mathematics are in column D. So for this case, what we'll do, and we want the result to be here, So that is on cell H23. That's where we want the result to be on. So I'll just come here, I will do equal to sum, equal to sum. So the total that we had earlier was total scores for each student. Now we want to go subject by subject. So we want to know the total scores obtained by students in mathematics. So I've done equal to sum. Then I will come here, highlight all of the scores for mathematics, but you already know that when you want to highlight, you don't need to pick the numbers one at a time. Click on the first one. If you want to pick everything under it, Control Shift down arrow to pick everything that's under. And if you look at the formula bar now, you see that it says that you want to sum everything that is on D7 to D21. That's all you want to sum together. So for that reason, you've correctly picked what you want to sum. So just hit enter on your keyboard, and now you have 1097. So now I know where people got 1097 from. So total scores for mathematics equal to sum. Highlight all the scores that relate to mathematics, and then you press enter on your keyboard. When you do that, whatever result you got, drop that on the chart for me. Okay, one more time. So I come here, stay on the cell where you want the results to be on. Stay on the cell where you want the result to be on. Equal to sum. Equal to sum. Once you open the bracket, so when you do equal to sum, and IntelliSense already shows you sum, just press tab to select it. So this is what I mean. So I do equal to sum. I've typed sum. You see that sum has been highlighted already. That's the function you want to use. Just press tab to select it. Once you press tab to select it, then it opens up the opening bracket. Then you go to the first number that you see under mathematics, click on that cell. Then to highlight everything underneath, just press Control Shift down arrow. That highlights everything underneath. And then you go on to it, enter your keyboard. That's what you're going to do. So that gives 1097. All right. So now that we have that, let's go quickly to the next question. The next question is, we want to know, calculate the maximum score obtained by students in chemistry. What is the maximum score obtained by students in chemistry? So you all should try it. You're going to use the max function. Max function, max. That's what you're going to use. So do equal to max and find the maximum score for students in chemistry. Type your results on the chart. I'm seeing different results. Someone 97, 96, 98. We can't have different results. We are using the same file, so we all must have the same result. It's not possible to have different results. So I'm seeing a lot more 96 now. Okay, good. So let's do it. So I come here, equal to max, and then we want to get the maximum score obtained by students in chemistry. So I need to go to chemistry column. So this is the chemistry column. I highlight the first number like this, press Control Shift down arrow to highlight everything underneath. Then I press enter. So when I do that, I get 96. So let me do it again in case some people didn't get it. Equal to max, like so. I press tab to select the max function. Go to select the first number that you see under chemistry, because you're considering chemistry for this case. Control Shift down arrow to highlight everything downwards and press enter. So that gives 96. So that is the maximum score for chemistry. Someone had 105. That would not be correct. I do not think that would be correct. You might want to check what you have selected again. Thanks for that, Moses. So Moses, you still remember how we used to write our results in school. Maximum score obtained by students in chemistry equals to 96. QED. All right, so let's go on now. How do I get marks? You will see. Maybe you are still coming. You have not gotten to where we are now. All right. What is the next question? Question 3. Calculate what is the average score of students in English. What is the average score of students in English? That is the third question. How do you get the average score? Use the average function. So everybody try that out. Use the average function. Get the average score for people for scores in English. Okay, I see 69.73. Super, I'm liking this class. It's very interesting. 69.73. The sound, what's wrong with the sound? I believe people can hear me because I can see responses. All right, so 69.73, let's validate. So I come here, equal to average. I tab in to select it. Then we are considering English for this case. So I click on 96, which is the first score under English. Control Shift down arrow to highlight everything downwards. And I hit enter on the keyboard, and that gives 69.73. Excellent. Next one. What is the minimum score obtained by students in biology? What is the minimum score obtained by students in biology? So for minimum, to get a minimum, remember for maximum, we use the max function. For minimum, you would use the mean function. So everybody gets the minimum scores. Interesting. I see 44. 44. Good. So that is the minimum scores for people in chemistry. Is it chemistry? Biology. Someone had 44. Someone is already smiling. This is the score that I used to have when I was doing biology. Don't worry, you are not alone. That's why some of us we ran to engineering and we did not want to study mitochondria or start drawing amoeba around. Okay, super. So we've gotten that. Let's validate. So I come back here, equal to mean. Mean of the scores in biology. So I select the scores in biology, I highlight everything downwards, I hit enter, and that gives 44. And then lastly, no, not lastly, how many students are in the class? How many students are in the class? We want to count the Akintunde, we want to count the number of students that we have in the class. What function are you supposed to use? Whenever you want to count in Excel, you have two functions to consider. We have a function called count, and we have a function called count A. So you use the count function whenever you are counting just numbers. We use the count function when you are counting just numbers. But when you're counting numbers or text or a mix of numbers and text, you can use the count A function. So a lot of the times count A functions seem to be much more versatile, But whenever in your counting, you want to restrict, you only want to consider numbers in your counting, use the count function. So for our case, if you want to count the number of students, that's by counting the students' names. Based on what I just explained, what function are you supposed to use? Count or count A? Tell me on the chart. Based on my explanation now, are you supposed to use count or you're supposed to use count A? Count A, excellent. So because we are counting text column, so I do equal to count A, and then I come here to the names, I highlight everything downwards, and I hit enter. And this tells us that we have 15 students. We have 15 students being considered in this case. So now, last two questions for now. What is the fourth highest score in mathematics? What is the fourth highest score in mathematics? Someone should attempt it. Tell me how you went by it. The fourth highest score in mathematics. Okay, Daniel, you used the marks, and did I return the correct thing for you? So I see marks, I see large. Okay, so now what we considered earlier when we calculated the total score, when we calculated the maximum score obtained by students in chemistry, remember that for that case we used the max function. So we used the max function because we wanted to see the highest, like number one. Whenever you are in a situation where you don't want to see the highest thing, maybe you want the second highest, third highest, fourth highest, fifth highest, or whatever highest, then we have a function that you're supposed to use, which is called large. So large function is a lot more versatile than the max. So max is always restricted to 1. Large is not always restricted to 1. So for our case, we'll do equal to large. And then large is asking for two things. It's asking for the array and it's asking for k. So array is a list of numbers or the list of items you are considering. So what are the scores from within which you want to get the fourth highest? That's what this means. So and the scores are related to mathematics. So I'm just going to come here, highlight all the scores for mathematics. So once I've highlighted all the scores for mathematics, remember that the max function is asking for two things. So array is the first one. We need to put a comma, then k. That is the position that we want to return. So for our case, because we want to return the fourth position, so I'm just going to put 4. Okay, so the numbers we are considering, that's D7 to D21. That's what we have highlighted. And then 4 is the position, fourth. So I hit enter and then I get 84. So that is the fourth highest number. So I'll take that again one more time in case someone missed it. So I do equal to large, equal to large. Then want to consider the scores in mathematics. So I just come here, highlight the numbers for mathematics, I put a comma. The position we are returning is 4. So I put 4, close my bracket, enter, and that gives us 84. Quick question to you. Just tell me a yes or no on the chart. Just yes or no on the chart. Now we use the large function to get the fourth highest number. And for the fourth highest number, we use the large function to get the fourth highest score. So tell me on the chart if it is possible. Daniel is already saying yes when they have not had what I want them to say yes to. So go to the chart. Tell me if you can use the large function to get a similar result as what the max function would return. Can the large function give you a similar result as what the max function would return? Dio, you caught that. Okay, yes, yes, yes. Okay, super. So if that is a yes, also go to the chart again. What would be K? What would be K if we want the large to return exact result as max? What would be K? K would be 1. Excellent. So once you say K is 1, then you want to get the exact result as what your large, your max function will give to you. So it means you guys are following. Then the last question, what is the least score in chemistry? So let's change this to what is the second lowest score? Second lowest score, lowest score in chemistry. So we want to get the second lowest score in chemistry. So if you have max, you have mean. And now if you have large, what do you expect to also have? What do you expect to also have? If you have max, you have mean. You have large, you're expecting to have small. Thank you, Mofoluke. I think I got that correctly. So you're expected to have small. Good. So you use the small function and it works exactly like the large function. So you're supposed to supply the array and then the position you are returning. Remember our question? The second lowest score. That is what you're returning. So type that out. What's your result in the chart? Okay, I say 42, I say 40 on the chart. I'm not so sure which one will be correct at this time. We might have to validate. Someone says 92. That's far from it. The person probably just entered the class. They just returned from a shy. 42. Okay, so let's validate. So I come here equal to small, excuse me, equal to small, and then we're considering chemistry. So I just highlight everything chemistry. I want to return second lowest, so K will be 2. Close my bracket and hit enter, and then we get 42. Excellent. So thanks a lot. Well done on that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If all we have done so far, or maybe not all, at least like 80% of what we have done so far is clear to you, go to the chart and type 9. Go to the chart and type 9. If 80% of what we have done so far is clear to you, type 9 on the chart. If it is not, type 0 on the chart. I know that some people will only hear 0 and just type 0. They don't know why they are typing 0. Someone types 4 9s. I shade you. Okay, I saw 1 0 somewhere. Okay, a lot of nines. Prince, maybe you're just coming in. You might have missed some beats. You probably need to just catch up with what you've missed. And that was part of the reason why I mentioned yesterday that we all need to be punctual. All right, so you're just joining the fair. That's good. So please, when we round up, which is gonna happen soon, just ensure that you go over the class tonight. Don't postpone it till tomorrow. 999. Someone did 90. Why now? Why? Why? Yeah, why? How do you know all the functions? I already gave an answer. I already gave an answer that you don't need to know all the functions. So you missed that part of the recording. So please go back to it. All right. So now proceeding, you'll see that at the bottom we have class activity 2. So this one is we have a list of employees, we have the companies where they work, and then we have their different salaries. These are employees. That's what I call them. So if you see Good Luck Jonathan, you are seeing Peter Obi, they are employees. I beg. Don't come after me. So these are employees in our company. These are the different company branches that they work with. and these are the salaries. So you see some questions below to calculate the total salary, the average salary, highest salary, lowest salary, number of staff, fourth highest salary, ninth highest salary. So change that to ninth lowest salary actually. So it should be lowest here. So now you are going to lay your hands on that. That's a practice test for you. Nobody's going to mark it. So don't ask me how you're going to submit. You're not going to submit to anybody. So just do that as a practice test for you. So, yes, in the company Nigeria, good. And that, but that's not the name of our company. I already told you the name of our company. So don't take me back to that. Okay, so you can just lay your hands on the class activity too for your own practice, so that you're able to just put to use some of what we've also learned in today's class. So today we've been able to look at an introduction to Excel. We explored the Excel interface. We explored a few functions in Excel that relates to numbers, and I think this is where we would put a pause to it for now. Let me take some time to attend to some questions before we draw the curtain. So if you have questions, let me listen to us now. Questions, 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 everybody. Who has a question? You have done the class activity to Adebayo. Excellent. Well done on that. You don't know how to get all the formulas, Prince. Sorry. You have to watch the recording from the start. Don't join the bus at the middle of the road. You don't have the file, please, you need to go the channel where people are getting the files. Maybe you're not on your LMS, maybe whatever. You're not doing something right. That's my guess. What alt key should we click to get the general sum for all? Alt equals to. So just press the alt key. You'll see a key that has ALT on it, and then you see a key that has equal to. Press the two together, that will give you what you want, provided you have done it the way I asked you to do it. You are here to create your own case. How do you go about it? I don't know what your own case is. For those who have not received the sheet, how do you get it, sir? I have no idea. Others received it, so you are expected to have received it. Please re-explain. What exactly? Are you to unzip the file? You cannot unzip what was not zipped. What is the advantage of Excel over Python for data analysis? They are separate souls. They do different things. So you always say that something has an advantage over others when they are naturally supposed to do the same thing. Okay? What you have on your screen is quite different from those of us. I do not agree. You use index instead of large. Okay, good for you. Well done. This file that is used is structured data. How can we structure an unstructured data? How can we structure an unstructured data? Yeah, that was explained yesterday. You probably missed yesterday's class. Please go watch it. There was a bit where I talked about the data analysis lifecycle. The information we worked with in class, if you have to enter it, how do you go about it? You don't have to enter it. The file was shared. So don't be a mechanic. Sorry, sir. Is it possible to get a link to download the same software version of Excel and Power BI? I do not have that link. Please search the web. An appeal to carry you along. From where, sir? I'm trying to get everyone along. That's the point. For the level of this class, and I'm sure that everyone that registered for this class, they saw that it's supposed to be an advanced class. So naturally, if you're a beginner, you're not supposed to be here. And if you're here, you're not supposed to be taken into consideration. That's a natural thing. So the fact that I'm taking things a bit back, so that those of us that we are beginners, we can also catch up, I think it's just fair on your side. And you should, we can't get better than this, just frankly speaking. Can we say the active cell and cells are the same thing? Yes, they are the same thing in a way, but when we say the active cell, so it's just more like saying that cells can either be active or not active. Whatever cell that you are clicked on at the time, that is the active cell, or you're working with at the time. Is it possible we get a link? I already answered. How many days do we have a lecture in a week? Go check your timetable. If I am to create my own, I've answered it. Is it possible? Repeat the formulas again. What formula? I'm trying to see if there will be other questions. The smallest in chemistry, you use the small function, Ruth Solomon, you use the small function. You mentioned something about getting a warning sign when you were explaining functions and formula. Yes, so that is the sign that you see with compatibility functions. So if I do equal to concat, so look at these two functions that you see on the screen. You see that the one below has, the one above has just fx before the function name. The one below has f with a warning sign. That's the warning sign that I'm talking about. Any more questions? Any more questions? Is Excel 2016 outdated or needs to be updated? Not necessarily outdated, but there are a lot of functions that you will not get that more recent versions would have. Kindly explain compatibility function. I just did now, Olusoji. I'm a beginner. Which class am I supposed to be in? I don't understand your question. What is our K when we use when we say looking for lowest salary using small function? So the way to determine the K is the position you want to return. Think about it. If you want to return the fifth highest something, the fifth there, that is the position you want to return. So your K will be 5. If you want to return the hundredth lowest something, the hundredth there is the position. So your hundredth will be 100 will be the K. So that's how to determine it. So it's more like saying that whatever is the position you're returning, translate that to number and feed it into your K. Any more questions? Any more questions, people? The Excel version I'm using Excel Microsoft 365. That's what I'm using. That should be October version 2025. So I probably have a version that's the most recent actually. How can I get the total number of students in class, please? Sorry, go watch that part of the recording. How do you know that the assignment is correct? Which assignment? If you're doing the right thing, you will know. Just follow exactly how it was done in class. That's you should. It's not rocket science. You should get it. Can you explain the max and large function? So max and large both are used to return the highest in a range. So use the max to return the highest. Large also will return the highest. But large is more flexible in that it can return other positions of highest. To say that you want to return second highest, third highest, fourth highest, fifth highest, large can return those. Max will always return the first highest if there is something like that. Olashukwu, I don't understand what you're talking about. So I want to stay like 2 more minutes and see if there will be any other question. In a situation where two numbers happens to be our K, will it show the two or it will display only one? What do you mean by that? Two numbers happen to be your K. What does that mean? Can you open group chat? Thank you for, okay. All right, so my appeal, as always, please, if you know that you need to go over the recording, that there are bits that you missed or you didn't join early, please ensure that you go to watch the recording and try to do that before tomorrow. That's number one. Number two is try as much as possible to also document your learnings. Track your progress. So you've learned something yesterday, you learned a few things today. That will get compounding as we progress in the course. Well done, everybody. As we go over the next set of days, it won't get simpler. We would be building on all of the things that we've done. So this is still more like an introduction to the preamble of Excel. But again, we'll see how things will fly from tomorrow. Blaze up, guys. Thanks, everybody. You notice the difference between Max and Large. They did not return same result. Large returned 84, Max returned 98. There, you do not understand what we are trying to do. So try to go back to the actual questions we are answering, as that would immediately answer your questions. Um, all right, people. Thanks a lot for being a part of this. We'll catch you again tomorrow by God's grace. Have a good night, everyone.